Hi, today I want to talk about weight transfer and positioning throughout the golf swing. What I found in my research is that there's a vast difference between what a golfer feels and what really is happening. So I am going to address those two elements for you today. Let's look at, starting out, what really happens. To illustrate, I'm going to use this little 4-pound medicine ball. These are my findings. Ideally, we're going to look for the weight to be approximately 50-50 starting out. As the swing starts, the upper body, the head's going to stay very centered throughout the golf swing, but there is still a weight transfer. Notice I'm not using the term weight shift. When I say weight shift, to me that illustrates a sense of moving my body into my right side. There really isn't that position that I've found. The weight shifts and transfers essentially because the arms and the club are going to swing into your right side. They swing back and away from the target. You cannot help transferring the weight over onto the back foot. As you get beyond halfway to about that point, somewhere between halfway back, which is left arm parallel to the ground if you're a right-hander, and a full backswing, you should hit an 80-20 ratio where your weight is 80% in favor of your back foot. Starting down from there, and keep in mind, I do want to stress that that is with a centered body position. Starting down from there, when the left arm gets parallel to the ground on the way down, I found that the best golfers I studied seem to have a weight distribution of 50-50. If you can find a picture of Sam Snead at that position, that illustrates that perfectly. You can see how his weight is nice and equally distributed. Now from here, this is perhaps the most important part. I'd like to see a very smooth transition from this 50-50 spot over to impact, where at impact I'd like to see 80-20 in favor of the front foot. The important part is we need it to be smooth and unabated. In other words, I noticed, particularly with single-figure handicap golfers, better golfers who found a way to create some power, compress the golf ball, the tendency was at this point for them to be too far over onto their front foot, perhaps 75-25. Now as they got into the delivery position, which is right about here, the tendency was to almost have 90-95% of their weight on their front foot, and from here to impact they backed up. If you struggle with hooking and blocking the ball, you might want to really look into that. Try to feel at that halfway down point like your weight is balanced, and then from there you can progress over into that front foot. So 50-50 at address, 80-20 as a maximum on the back foot with a centered body position, 50-50 halfway down, 80-20 at impact. Those are the reality. Those are the facts as to what happens. Let's talk a little bit about feel, and I do want to stress that based on where you've been, every golfer's feel is going to be different. However, these are my findings. For a lot of people, particularly golfers, the majority of golfers who tend to want to move off the ball, move a little laterally, essentially get too much weight into their back foot, when they feel like they've got more weight on their front foot at the top of their backswing, they actually get into a nice 80-20 position where their weight is actually favoring their back foot at the top of the backswing. Something along those lines. If you've read a little bit about my work and the research I've done, the 84-degree line really does seem to hold true, as the right side of the body doesn't shift laterally, but the arms and the club, as they wind up to the top, that is essentially what's transferring that weight over onto the front side. So good success in getting golfers to perhaps feel something that wasn't quite real, but it helped them get into a position of neutrality, one where the best players get into and they're able to generate some great speed, compress some golf shots, and they're not backing up through the hit. If you have any questions, please take a look at my website, post a few comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts, but really, these are the facts as far as I can tell. Thanks for watching.